scary.
Steak and haze, man. Breakfast, man.
Breakfast of champions.
That is. I don't know what we're champions of, but we're champions of breakfast.
The day.
That's the day.
Champions of the day.
Rick.
That's so scary. Corvette. Corvette.
What do we? All right, so we're on this.
Serial 9 shifter.
That's what we have today, right? Because we're gonna wait debating on turbo stuff because we ordered stuff. You ordered stuff.
GK Tech sending us some stuff, and Juku, some stuff coming from Turn.
So we should wait until we have all the parts before we start pulling apart.
Yes.
Shifter.
Shifter.
Because trans is
AC
basically
off.
ready to go. Oh yeah, AC.
Here.
Slave cylinder put on, new shifter, and then we'll wait on that. We can stab the trans on.
Slave. It'd probably be wise for us to like leave the turbo off for now. I mean on, and wait until we have all the components tomorrow. Hopefully, everything should show up tomorrow.
Because right now we have a running SR.
Yes, it is a good turbo.
We
on
could
there.
render
It's
it
stock.
useless, but we got a new trans and stuff too to test. Whatever, we'll just do it all. So new serial 9 shifter. We take this off. Is there anything else that has to be replaced? What is this for? Like harmonic?
That can come off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the point of this shifter? Just relocation, or it's just better?
Yeah, so it locates in the factory cutout, you know, like so you don't have to cut your trans tunnel.
Oh, like bring it back.
Yeah, so these are way too far.
Yours is already notched for that, right?
The other one that we took out was shortened. So it's the bracket's been cut and shortened. But Serial 9 has it all perfectly placed for an S chassis, and then you don't have any like weird shifting like binding.
Yeah.
So when you shorten all the linkage and you use like a shortened bracket, sometimes it changes how the actual throw feels.
Yeah.
And it gives it kind of like a swivelly kind of feel. A lot of times I'd have a hard time switching from like second
I've noticed
to third.
that before, where it feels like you kind of walk it around almost.
Yeah, especially like the Z32 transmissions too.
Yeah, because actually the last time I drove your car was Z32 trans.
Probably.
And it was, I remember it going like that.
Yeah, it's really odd. But yeah, so we run this kit in hot ice, the teal car, and it works really, really well. And also, you know, these are the guys who recommended us switching to this bell housing from Mazworks, and it was super helpful. Like,
He said one word.
Yeah, one word, Mazworks. Get it.
Done.
Yeah.
And this fits nice. It looks good too. It's a fairly simple kit to throw. It seems intimidating, but it's really not that intimidating. There's like 4 things to do.
You just have to man up and cut your transmission that's new to you.
Yeah.
Before you even
seems
start
like it
using
doesn't make sense. That looks so much nicer.
It's so nice.
That's the rod shifter.
Yeah, and then it's got like a swivel, so you can, you know, place it wherever you want. It's adjustable.
Yeah, we're in a good spot. Today we'll be ready to go and then start doing. Maybe I'll just start disassembling the turbo stuff too.
Might be a good idea to like break it loose.
Break it loose and then try it over.
Find out if you have to weld on a bunch of bolts and nuts and stuff to break it loose.
So day 2 started out with some crazy car jams through a really tight shop around really nice cars, which was scary, but now we're gonna go back to work, pulling this shifter off right now and replacing it with a serial 9 shifter, and then basically gonna stab this trans on the motor. That should be ready, and then pulling off the AC And I'll just check around the car and just give it a general checkup because we're waiting on a couple parts that should be here tomorrow since we ordered them yesterday. Back to work. First order of business, smash out this roll pin. Pull that off and then put the new one on for the linkage. And then pretty self-explanatory after that. Just bolt this sucker on. So, simple. Roll pin, pop that out. Boom. Nice piece. Feels like it would already shift really nice. I don't even have an extension on there. It already shifts way nicer. Cool. Next up, power steering kit from Chase Bays. Got a little bit of a frayed line up here. Gonna replace that. And then some slick stuff to replace this line as well. And new lines into the rack. So we're making mature decisions.
Yes.
Because we've been drifting for long enough to know that more power, more problems.
Yep. Well, really not so much more power, more problems. It's really more like if you try to do too much the night before the track day, you don't get to the track day. You don't get on track.
So we're not gonna put the other turbo on. We're gonna make sure that what we've already done works just fine, and we're gonna get more laps and not be as stressed.
Yes.
Because we have a lot to do to get there. Scott's doing a lot to run this event. We got a lot to do. I got a lot to do to put that stuff back in. I'm just gonna put the motor in.
All right.
Might as well. Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, the
that sounds like a good plan.
the trans and everything's on, so I think it's ready to go. We'll just put it in.
Yeah.
So I'll get started.
I've got a handful of. I got to etch that batch of steering wheels right there.
This is your etch. Oh,
Yeah.
There's nothing in it right now.
No, nothing in there. But I'm gonna get that stuff etched, and then I'll be out there to help you.
Cool. Hopefully I'll be done by the time you're done. After much struggle, it was actually really hard to put in. The engine is actually in. We put the motor and trans in. It fought us a little bit. I had to remove a mount, wiggle it in. It's just that trans is so big that it's kind of hard to get in and out. So we finally got it in. Everything kind of plugged up. Just got a few more things. We're waiting on a fan. That should be here tomorrow. Then we can tidy everything up, make sure everything runs well, and we'll be good to go for the event. Clean it up now. Go home. Play some more Sims. Stuff like that, just hang out. Day 3 starts with 500 pounds of flour. Moving the weight. I could help. This is fun to watch.
Is it fun to watch?
Yeah. All right, day 3. It's in. We just gotta put everything together and then do the rest of the power steering thing. That's basically it. So we'll get it running today. Scott's gotta go paint stuff and do like his actual job. I'm just gonna plug away at this and get it started today. We'll test it, make sure it's all good. it's ready to go basically. All the fluids are in, everything's back together. We're just waiting on a mount. We got a trans mount needs to go in there, and that's it. So we're at a standstill until that comes in tomorrow. We're a little ahead of schedule, so that's nice. We'll get it tested and figure out if we have any issues. At least we have one more day before the event, so if anything happens, we could diagnose it, because it hasn't run in quite a while. But we just changed all the fluids. Everything's good to go. Day 3, done. Trans mount, wheels, nut and bolt check. We're good to go. Day 4. That's what it is. Day 4, I guess. And we left it last night. Pretty much left early because we're basically done. We're just waiting on a trans mount, but we do have a trans mount that we could modify, in which, if this one doesn't show up. Andrew's here working on stuff. I drew him an elephant. He's got to get some coolant in his car, get it prepped. See the hood popped over there. I'm just kind of screwing around, so I see a couple things that, I don't know, I'll fix just to help out. So this is like bent up. I'll bend that back, put the bumper on, do a little bit of a nut and bolt check, make sure we're good for the event. And it's supposed to rain. Like, I think it's pretty much 100% chance it's gonna rain at Stoopicold, and then the day after, the second day of the event, it's supposed to snow like 3 or 4 inches. So inclement weather, but it's good that we didn't add more power because we're not gonna need it. It's gonna be just rainy. We should be prepared, we should be ready. And then we're gonna have to go find some warmer clothes and some rain gear, I guess. Cars, man. Well, I for one am happy that Andrew showed up today and said, I wonder how much coolant's in my car.
Yep, because there's not any in 2 out of 3 so far.
All these cars are coming, and
the snow comes on Sunday.
Yeah, it's gonna be cold. So right now I'm at a standstill because we're waiting on the trans mount for the Phaser S13, and that should be showing up, I don't know, an hour or 2, whenever. But all the other cars are now filled with coolant. We got everything else prepared, Scott's vet, hot ice, and Andrew's car. But now that I have some downtime, I'm going to get started on our next project. I'm out here for 2 weeks. First plan was to get this S13 ready for the drift event, do the drift event, and then after that, we're gonna start building this off-road S14. Basically, the plan with this is kind of an entire overhaul. We've got a new motor for it, new suspension, we've got a bunch of parts over here. ISR performance arms and a new clutch, all that stuff. Suspension, all getting rebuilt. So this is dedicated to that. We got the oil pan right here that's gonna have to be modified. So I'm gonna try and utilize as much time while I'm here and try and knock out as much of this as possible. I don't think we'll be able to finish it in the 1 more week that I have here, but I'm gonna get started and try and get a head start on getting this done so the next time I come back that we can finish this up and go thrash it. But right now the motor's on the engine test stand, so I'm gonna have to get this thing off. We want to put it on an actual engine stand because I'm gonna have to modify that oil pan, weld that up. I'm gonna do that in place. So I'm gonna get the motor off and on a stand, flip it over, maybe get started on this pan, and then we're gonna organize some parts and make sure we have absolutely everything we need for the build. So the next time I come back, we just snap it together, go thrash it. Well, I got the motor on the stand. That's exactly what I needed to do because we're gonna be modifying a lot of stuff. This is getting all new parts. We got Holley performance parts for the intake manifold and throttle bodies and all that stuff. Just a bunch of things that are gonna be built onto this. Also, I need it on the stand because I need to rotate it upside down, modify the oil pan. So I'll be welding that stuff in place. It needs to be bolted up really nice and tidy, so there's no leak in the pan. And that would be one of the first things that I do to this so we can figure out if it fits, what else needs to happen, and the trans might have a conflicting thing in the trans tunnel. So we want to figure that out right away so we can utilize my time while I'm here. But that's now ready to go. I'll get back to that in a minute because parts actually showed up. So we got the trans mount, and like Scott said, this was the RestoMod, so wanted to go back with more of a factory style mount. Not so much the urethane that's gonna vibrate and sound like crazy. So this was meant to be a nice creature comforts car. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this back in, get the exhaust on, and then we'll fire it up, make sure everything works, give it a test drive. everything is buttoned up, ready to go. So can hook up the battery and fire it up now. But while it's up in the air, I just want to show off this exhaust. It's really nice. It fit together really nice. I love the way it looks. I love the way it mounts. It's really low car friendly. Anyway, I'm gonna get this thing back down on the ground, fired up, and check for any leaks or any potential issues. And then we'll torque down the wheels and give a little bit of a drive around the block. Make sure it boosts well and the trans and clutch are all working fine. Bring it down, fire it up, let it warm up. All right, shifters on. Feels real nice. There's a problem solved. Let's see if it fires up. Right away. That's a good sign. Had a bit of clearance issue with the fan, but just shaved it down, fixed it. So that's good. And just throw the wheels on, gonna warm it up, check all the fluids, make sure there's no leaks. Doesn't look like there is any so far. Bleed the coolant and go take it for a drive. All the fluids look good. I think we're pretty much ready to go. So I'm gonna go take it for its first test run on the new trans setup. Make sure that everything's working right. Make sure that it doesn't overheat, stuff like that. Just feel everything out. So first test run, stoked. So on my first little test rip around, I just drove around and it sounded like it was making a terrible noise. Thought it was coming from the trans. I didn't put the shift boot on purposely so I could hear everything and make sure the trans was good. They were a little iffy on that transmission. But as I got back, Mike told me that, well, it kind of made a noise because they had an accident a little while ago where a guy hit in the back and it's been making this noise. I put it back up on the lift and ran it and it sounds like it came from the diff. So I don't know. We'll see what Mike says. He said there was a noise there for a while, so he's driving it now. We'll see what he thinks.
It's a whole new noise.
Okay.
That's not the same noise.
That's what I thought. So we're gonna track down this other noise. To me, it sounded like it was coming from the diff. Something could be whining through the diff. Not really sure. We didn't really know the state of the transmission in itself, but I don't know. All right, so Scott didn't even drive it. He just said there's a horrible noise, and that's what was there. So we're sticking to it as the diff is the problem. So we're gonna go ahead and change it.
It's broken, it ain't no joke.
Whoa! Oh, let me see what you got.
Well, there's some of that juicy boy there.
Dude, it was so full.
Golly.
And the
Oh, yeah.
fluid looks terrible. I would say that is probably a problem. Oh man, there's just junk all over the threads now. It stinks bad. Toasted.
Alright, so that's your
So new diff's going in. Mike.
Yeah, we gotta come
Scott are on it, talking to each other.
It's hard.
Cool.
On the problem, shit. See all this chipped off back there. It's pretty broken. I'd say that was the noise. Well, we fixed it. It was a diff. Trent found out that it was disgusting. Mike's learning how to drive the vet. He's probably too tall. Well, it's fixed. It's fixed. It's got a little bit of a power steering leak we'll address tomorrow, but it runs, drives good. I thought you were gonna throw up. Look at this just sitting here.